What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. Dragun of Red Eyes is highly anticipated for the TCG, yet we don't know where or when we'll get it. I'm having real flashbacks to Needle Fiber. Oh, it's gotta be in this set, it'll help sell this set, or Konami wants this to be the greatest set ever. They're definitely gonna put it in Dual Overload. Stop. We don't know when we're gonna get it. When we see it officially announced or leaked, then we will know. But I do think some of the buyouts pertaining to it are big brain and very smart, while others are pretty bad. And I'm gonna get into some of the ones that I think are better that are happening right now. DDS Dark Magician is bought out. There's not a single near mint copy on TCG Player, and if you're looking to even grab one, you're gonna have to crack it out of its graded plastic, because everything here, even though this says near mint, it then says light play in the listing, and you can see like some edge wear down here. You have to crack plastic to get a mint DDS Dark Magician to play with. That is freaking absurd. And I think the market is speaking towards this won't go back down. Remember when Blue Eyes became meta? DDS Blue Eyes jumped in price. Everyone thought it was overinflated. It never went back down, and I don't think we'll actually see this fall back down either. I think it's going to be 500 plus pretty solidly for those near mint copies, and it'll go up from there. DDS just so freaking collectible. There's a lot of versions of Dark Magician to go after all these Dark Magician girls. You actually have the Shonen Jump promo, which you could mix with the anniversary art for Red Eyes, and we'll get into the Red Eyes buyouts in a bit. And you also, of course, have First Ed LOB. There's a lot of ways to go. First Ed starter deck Yugi, and the secret rare from the tins is a fan favorite as well. But when looking at Red Eyes, like I said, you can pair several versions. You have DTP Red Eyes flying off the shelf. There's only one listed left at 200. If you don't know what DTP1 is, it's Dual Terminal Preview. It was only at 1 WCQ, but they also floated into circulation over in California dual terminals for a while. That's why you saw them have a large chunk of the market on that for so long, but people haven't slept on it since. They really let them fly out, and now nobody has a deep stock, and here we are with DTP1 Red Eyes at 200. The secret rare looks really nice. Like I said, you could pair that with the 10 one. There's a lot of combinations you can do here. And of course, First Ed LOB, very expensive as well. There's the Retro Pack one, which I felt like was undervalued till recently. And you see it jumping up real high, real fast. Now it's towards really what history I think should have put it at in the first place. So looking at all versions of Red Eyes, pick your copies. My favorite versions aren't necessarily the most expensive though, but we do know we're getting the Predaplant Link Monster in Dual Overload. That's gonna be happening, and that's only gonna cause more people to prepare for Dragun. Get your copies and versions sooner than later using that TCG Player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra and supporting the channel directly when it's cheapest for you and the best deal for you. But seriously, don't sleep on the versions you want. Like the anniversary pack, I think this art is badass. I personally collect them from Japan because they're way cheaper over there for this art, but I can't play those in the TCG, and you can see what's happening with pretty much every version of Red Eyes right now. They're jumping, they're spiking in price. Same with collectible Dark Magicians. Now, Blue Eyes, like I said, I wanted to reference this point. DTP, oh, it never came back down. DDS, it never came back down. And you're going to have a similar story with these, where this is the apex of them spiking in price and probably not coming back down in price as very iconic monsters that are seeing their way into meta decks. Block Dragon. I couldn't have seen this coming, yet I did. Towards the end of the video, as I was talking about it in a previous market watch, I was like, they really could put it in here if they don't plan to hit it on the FNL list, and if they have foresight. Well, the reprint is announced in Secret Slayers alongside the Adamantia archetype in the OCG. These reprints usually do come over to the TCG. I don't think the TCG will be hitting Block Dragon, and it even shows that they want to encourage and sell this deck and help it out moving forward. So Block Dragon does have a reprint announced that will likely carry over to the TCG. And its pricing, you see only 4 listings were left. It was going out. Now, it's likely that the First Ed Originals will be the best version to have. It's unlikely they'll rarity upgrade it in the side set, but that would be pretty cool. Something I talked about on the Patreon recently is that I feel like the best stun decks are Altergeist, well, Control Stun, whatever you want to call it. Altergeist and Guru Control, and then it comes to Trap Tricks kind of being in third place, yet they keep getting future support. And a lot of versions like Sarah, $7 to $8, keeps rising and staying up in bubbles where they keep rising in price. Mantis from Coda the Duelist has over doubled in price from 50 cents towards $1. This is kind of one of those penny stocks that I would suggest you guys have sooner than later. I don't see a reprint for her coming, and she is headed towards $1 solid. You can still get free shipping on some listings, and it pretty quickly goes up towards $2. So she's looking at 4xing in pricing versus pretty low quantities on market outside of people like Duelist Academy here who are waiting for that $2 price point and are calling it to be there. I do think it will head towards there eventually if she doesn't get a reprint. It's still a very fan favorite. You have Hat from 2014. A lot of people like that format, and people like having this as a side deck to kind of just play and think about at locals to take a break from the meta. I still don't think it's one of the best. I think Rafflesia will get abused in other decks a lot harder than in the Trap Tricks engine itself, but I would not sleep on this fully. That Grass Looks Greener and Masterpiece bring up a discussion point for me that I think is a little weird. Ban cards are going up in price, and that's usual, but when they come off the list and don't have a high impact like Exciton Knight did, then they fall flat once they come back into the meta. These two cards I don't think would fall flat, but I don't think they'll be coming back anytime soon, and they keep going up in price. They're defying gravity instead of staying around $6, $7, $8, $9 now for That Grass Looks Greener, $12 for Masterpiece Near Mints, and I think that's pretty alarming. There's this different kind of banned market bubbling up now, and I don't think it's very fruitful even if they get unbanned. Like, there will be this swirl of hype, people clamoring to get them, and then we see a lot of things fall flat on their faces for what people thought would be a lot of money. Exciton Knight was an example, but Scott Page used it in his deck list. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Scott Page used it in his deck list, and it was interesting to see him talk about it. And now, spiking back up in price. Even the Mega Pack versions are getting up there. You see them towards $5, $6, and the originals towards $9 for even the Unlimited. So it took all of this time for something to finally happen with it, but there were tons of people selling it cheaper. You see the market price is cheaper. People were really willing to let this go after all that time holding on to them. It's just this weird back and forth. And also, it did have a reprint while it was still banned, so that was interesting for it. Let me know what you think of the banned market. Is it worth getting into? Do you think it's worth for that flashpoint of it could come off, or this continual rise? Like, it's this new kind of market that's developing with specific cards like this to where they're starting to look as good as first edition Rescue Rabbit and cards that are legal and heralded for back in the day. These are starting to look as juicy as those, and maybe they are the modern collectibles for a generation now growing up with Yu-Gi-Oh! At a different time. Buster Dragun keeps going up. I don't know that this will get a reprint despite all the gas for Buster Blade or getting a link. Busters are doing this, that. People really like this card, and it only has its one printing, and it continues to go up. So be aware of this card. I think it'll only go up higher if it misses a reprint in Dual Overload. I'm hoping Konami sees it at some point, gets it into an OTS pack or somewhere that wouldn't usually look at this card for a reprint. Battles of Legend, maybe? But it's heavily overlooked by Konami, and it's only gone up over time to ridiculous proportions. There's news that Charmers are getting their own structure deck, and I have a word of forewarning with that. I think the Earth Charmer Prismatic and the Wind Charmer Prismatic are going to go up with this announcement over time if any of the releases look like they could be close to meta. They almost made Charmers a pretty good deck before. Shoutouts to Sebastian Crawford. He's unbanned from Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. He had a pretty good deck for it back in the day, and I think this could be a deck as an archetype that's slept on instead of like generic, like these cards just end up here or there for typing. I really think they can come together and make a deck. It'll be interesting to see what Konami makes in a structure deck, or if it'll fall kind of flat on its face like the Sacred Beast structure deck seems to be. I still think there will be some gas here. I think you'll see the Earth Charmer start to head towards 250 like I predicted before. I have no clue where the Wind Charmer will go from here. We've seen it try to fall out multiple oh, well, that's what I get for not scrolling down. By the way, a little bit late to edit Market Watch. I'm just gonna give you the live reaction. Seriously, that's crazy. Well, sometimes I already know where things are headed before they've headed there. But I think the Earth Charmer will actually head towards this price point too. But Win is a fan favorite compared to the rest along with the Water Charmer. So the Earth Charmer not as heavy of a fan base, but I still think from here we'll start to head towards 250. Please use my link in the description if you are hunting big boy cards like this. But don't sleep. Don't end up paying more like you would have for Win. I could still see this falling back down, but I don't think it's going to. That structure deck really just yeeted this on up, huh? Magician's Soul falling down in price for a meta card as the hero stuff is still starting to go up. Like, I called Liquid Soldier having bottomed out. Now we see it towards 48. I think it's still going to continue to climb towards 50, 52. I would get your Sunrise right now. It bottomed out as well, and I wouldn't be left without this card. An ultra rare, even if it's like overprinted out of a legendary duelist, you want to have access to this card, and a lot of hero players are going to start to pick it up right now. Seriously. Yeah, it's funny that Apprentice Illusion Magician almost caught up to Sunrise, by the way. But Magician's Soul, people just aren't as hype on Spirals as they were. And while I really like Spirals as a choice for the meta, it keeps losing like Thunder Dragon did. And people just keep losing faith in this card despite its generic goodness for other decks as well. What's my final tab? I actually don't know. Cyber Emergency is way up in price. This is a card I would get rid of. But I'd also look through Relentless Revenge for other cards that really feel cheaper than they should be. Be it hollowed out versions of cards like Honest Neos, Max Rarity Heroes, anybody, or other things like Union Hanger that are getting a lot of hype for the next Master Rule. There's tons of things to look through. Like, I remember when this was up to $6 for 5 negates, maximum hype, splash in every deck. Like, I remember when this was up. You'll see a lot of these spikes happen throughout this next meta season as we head towards the WCQ and Master Rule. I'd heavily consider having max rarity versions of certain cards and sleeper investments through every Battles of Legend. Take a look for yourself. I'm not going to do all the work for you. That being said, thank you for watching today's Market Watch. I know it was a lot to get through. I also mixed in news and a little bit of a surprise to myself, but it's crazy how the market just moves ahead of even where I'm like thinking sometimes. I'm like, yeah, this could be a thing. Oh, it's already a thing. It just goes to show it's not always Market Watch that makes things jump, kiddos. But there definitely is a push and pull when you have 10,000 plus eyes on only hundreds of cards. So do consider that when, wow. I really can't believe this just instantly yeeted itself like that. That is crazy. But again, please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation, and let me know what you think of where the market's moving during the season. I think a lot of it's waiting for Duel Overload now. We're waiting to see those final reprints, and I know good old Glasgow Yu-Gi-Oh, aka Farfa, is going to have a sneak peek for us, I think, coming up. So they kind of revealed on Twitter, hey, look what's coming. So we should get a sneak peek on some more cards from the set. I'm really hoping Pot of Extravagance ends up in there. Thanks for watching, everybody.